Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Final Fantasy 2 or 4 on the Wii Virtual Console. Last episode, we had journeyed through part of the underground waterway with Tellah and Georgie. Now we're going to finish off the dungeon. We only have a few more floors to go. This is really short, this section here, but it does contain the boss monster that Tellah was afraid of. The 8-tentacled octopus monster that he said his magic wasn't strong enough to defeat. So he said, hopefully, Rupes can help him out with this, the dog sword, and Rupes will help him out with the dog sword because the boss coming up here, Octomammoth, is actually weak to the darkness element. So Rupes is going to do a lot of damage with his attacks. So he's also going to take a little less damage because he's getting some new armor here. He had the darkness sword, now he's getting almost an entire complement of darkness armor. There's no darkness shield, so yeah, I don't know why they skipped that. I mean, you figure you could probably throw the shield in there where the ether was, or somewhere else, but yeah, it's weird because the next upgrade for Rupes will be the black armor, and there's, black shield, black gauntlets, black helmet, etc. So I don't know why they don't have a full set of darkness equipment, but it's okay. We don't necessarily need that shield, but we do need to take on Octomammoth here. Basically, Octomammoth, the more you hit him, it doesn't matter the damage that you do, but the more you hit him, the more his tentacles will disappear. So you'll notice after a few hits, he is going to start losing tentacles. As he loses tentacles, his speed decreases, so he'll move. He'll attack less often. So, yeah, you don't have to worry about, using really long, drawn-out attacks. Like, Georgie could probably just, use, rather than Chocobo, it takes a while to cast, could probably just use, Lit on, the boss. But I want to do as much damage as possible, because eventually you're going to have to, finish it off, damage-wise, take off its, 2,350 hit points there. So, in the Japanese version, Tellah has an ability called Recall, which allows him to recall one of his forgotten spells. He can't recall all the spells that he forgot, but the most powerful one that he can recall is the Bio spell, or Virus spell, depending on the translation. So that's, if you want to take a chance on that. Like I said, this is the American version, so it had that ability dummied out there for Tellah. But as you can see, the more you hit him, his tentacles are decreasing, and Tellah will give a little bit of encouragement once we get down to 2 tentacles, basically saying yay, good job, we're doing it. But overall, not too difficult of a monster. If need be, Tellah is probably going to do the least amount of damage with his lit spells. So if you need a healer, he's probably your best choice to be a healer. Plus he has, he doesn't have Cure 1, but he has Cure 2, the second Cure spell. So he's actually a better healer than Georgie, because, one, he has a little bit better stats. The will stat, which determines how well your white magic works, and then your, and then wisdom, which determines how potent your black magic is. But as you can see, he's not that hard. We didn't even basically need to heal up. And we finish him off, so stage a level. Now this is basically the last point where you're going to have Tellah for now. He's going to leave our party shortly, as soon as you go to Damcyan. So you could de-equip him with all his stuff, but not going to do that. We're just going to head to the castle, to a random encounter. I am going to move Tellah, though, to the front row, just because he's about to do a cutscene. And if he's in the back row, he's going to miss a lot. Doesn't matter the damage, but it's just kind of annoying to see him keep missing all the time. So unfortunately, there goes the Red Wings, and they have just bombarded the Damcyan castle. And I guess it's a good thing we didn't get there a few seconds earlier, or else we would have been stuck in this bombardment. Now we should go into the castle to check on all the people, but it's not a timed event. So I'm just gonna first head over here to get some treasure. I lost my sword. Are you my allies? Keep the treasure inside, away from the enemies. You push that button over there, and we can come over here and grab some treasure. a crossbow, a leather helmet, and a ruby ring. Ruby ring is a special ring. They doesn't have as good as defense as the iron ring, but it protects the wearer from the pig status. Pig basically transforms your character into a pig, and they can't use their like special abilities. So like a magic user won't be able to use magic. Somebody like Jarvis won't be able to use their jump attack. So, but overall, it's not that really bad of a status, because the way that status ailments work in this game is there's a hierarchy, and if you have a status ailment inflicted on you that's higher on the hierarchy, then any other status below that hierarchy won't take effect. So it always confused me, because much later on there's a boss, and the boss will actually heal you, and then try to cast the poison status on you. You're like, why is the boss healing us? And the reason why is because poison is kind of a lower end status, and it wouldn't work if you had, say, another status on you. So he's removing all the statuses from you so he can inflict the poison on you. And uh-oh, that's Anna! Ah, Anna! And here comes that bard that she ran away with. You're the bard, you did this to her! And now Tellah's going to fight the bard, and we're going to get a famous line. He calls him a spoony bard. It's just a weird translation, but actually it makes sense. Apparently spoony is someone who's like, love-struck and foolish. So, but I think he used more profane language in the Japanese version, so. But he's basically blaming this bard here for Anna's death, and he's giving him a whooping. Now, like I said, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to do a certain amount of damage, just a certain amount of turns. Just that I really feel like watching him miss all the time. I want Tellah to get a little bit of revenge, so toughen that bard up. But the fight ends when Anna speaks up. She's going to tell a little bit about everything that's going on here. Are you alright? Father, Edward is the Prince of Damcyan. He disguised himself as a bard when he came to see me in Capo. Forgive me, Father, for running away. But I love Edward. We thought of asking for your consent, but when we were about to leave, Gobaz attacked us with Baron's Red Wings. Who is that man? I don't know. But why? He took our crystal of fire, and Anna shielded me from the arrows. So I guess the crystal will be in that room behind there, but you can't go in there because the stairs are blocked off. You loved him that much, Father. Forgive me. I love Edward. Anna! 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 And sadly, Anna, like Rydia's mother, passes away. Who is Golbez? I heard that he's gathering crystals using Baron's Red Wings, so he's basically Rupes' replacement. Stop crying. Your tears won't bring back Anna. Wait for me, Golbez. I'm coming to avenge my daughter. You can't go alone. I don't need any help. This is my own affair. The Tellah we basically learn is a big family man, and his only family left was Anna, so that's why he was so, determined not to have her leave and be on his own. But now that Anna's gone anyway, he's basically only set on revenge. And well, we'll get him back later, but he's gonna try to learn about getting his revenge. So that's what his character arc is now, getting revenge on Golbez, who apparently has replaced Rupes as the leader of the Red Wings. So Edward here is in a funk. He doesn't want to leave the castle. He just wants to stay here and mourn. Rydia tries to get him out of the funk, says, hey, I've lost people too. And now Rupes is going to join in and basically say, hey, I have a friend who needs the sandruby to cure her desert fever, and you're the only one who can get it for me, so I need your help. And that's going to convince Edward. She seems to be an important person. You shouldn't lose your loved ones. So now Edward is going to join us. The sandruby is made from the antlion when it lays its eggs in the cave. The cave is in the east, but we must go across shallows to get there. There's a hovercraft in Damcyan we can use. We can also go to Capo through the shallows. Let's hurry. So yeah, now we know, because you can't backtrack through the underground waterway. You saw there was that waterfall that we went down before we fought the Octomammoth. So there's no way to get back up that, at least in this game. In the after years, there is a way, But for this game, in order to get back to Capo, we have to take the shallow waters to the west. We can tell where they're shallow waters because it looks like it's water with these like little rocks sticking out of it. And we can drive over them with this new hovercraft that we got. But before we go over to that thing, we're going to head back to Damcyan here, because we were told that there was a healing pot upstairs. One of the injured soldiers was trying to reach it. So we're going to go up and talk with some people there and use the healing pot. So there's one on the right here that restores your MP. So that would be good for Georgie. And to the left restores your status, which is like your status ailments, and your hit points. And there's 2 people over here, so let's talk with them, get some information. You can go to Capo along the shallows with the hovercraft. Prince Edward always told us that. The road to Fabule is through Mount Hobbs is blocked with thick ice. So we'll check out that mountain real quick here. But yeah, sadly Tellah ran away and is gone. Otherwise, he could maybe burn down that ice and melt it. But unfortunately, we don't have anyone who can cast fire in our party. Lydia, if you notice, she hasn't learned the fire spell. Edward is a bard. He attacks with a harp. He doesn't, as you see, he's not very strong. Put him in the back row. He doesn't come with, really great equipment. But one good thing about Edward is the 2 harps that he can use in the game, they both inflict status ailments. And they're both back row weapons. So you can place Edward in the back row and have him deal full damage with his harps. And even more important than the damage that the harps do is they often inflict status ailments. So the Dreamer harp that he comes with inflicts the sleep spell. So you can put enemies to sleep, which basically disables them. And then he gets a Lamia harp, which can confuse enemies. Deals more damage as well, so we're actually going to get that harp in this dungeon here, the Cave of the Antlion. So it's a smaller dungeon than the underground waterway, but that's okay because we have a weaker party. Tellah was much better than Edward. So I guess to compensate for the losing a stronger party member, the game is going to give us a lot of easier enemies to deal with. There are some new enemies here that I'll show off, but a lot of those battles that I was cutting out there were basically battles with imps. Imps are basically the weakest enemy in the game. So even Edward can one-shot them with his harp. So it's a good way for Edward to gain a little bit of experience. So Edward also has a hide ability, which he automatically does if he gets down to critical hit points. That's when your character kind of kneels down and looks like they're sweating. He can also sing, and sometimes the sing will inflict different status ailments on him. But for the most part, his best skill is just to attack with the harp, because the harp seems to have a pretty good accuracy in terms of landing the status ailments on it. So you have another new enemy here. Now these Flan-type monsters here, they have really high defense, so you can't really attack them with physical attacks, but luckily they tend to be color-coded. So the red ones, the jellies we ran into in the underground waterway, they're red, weak to fire. These cream monsters that are weak, that are yellow, they're weak to lightning, the lightning spell. And then we're going to run into bluer colored ones that they'll be weak to ice. So they're kind of color-coded. I think at the after use there's a sword that lets you deal full damage to Flans, but not in this one. Grab all the treasures here. Lydia ends up learning a warp spell, which takes you back 1 level, just like in Final Fantasy II, the Nintendo version that I have a playthrough on this channel. But we're not going to use that to get out of here. Like I said, this cave is pretty small, and getting out of it isn't that hard. And getting extra experience for Edward is always helpful, because he's going to be an important party member in a later area. So there you see how he put the total to sleep with his harp. And now we're also going to see Edward Auto Command. He automatically hides when he's, like I said, at critical hit points. And you can hit the return button to have him run back. But for the most part, he's just going to be useless when he's just hiding. Hide is a good ability though, like in Final Fantasy V. There's a lot of cheesy tactics you can use, like against the super boss Shin Ryu. If you have a zombie character, a zombie will just can't be, killed in battle because they're undead and they just attack anything. But if you have a zombie character, the zombie character could be fighting Shin Ryu and have all the other characters hiding. And then since Shin Ryu can't defeat the zombie character because it doesn't have like white magic, then the zombie just ends up beating up the super boss. So that's one way to cheese the game, that super boss. So then we got the Lamia Harp for Edward. As you notice, when I put that on him, basically doubled his attack power, but he was also able to use the crossbow. We have some white arrows, they're holy elemental arrows. So Edward could use a crossbow instead, but the problem is crossbows, or bow and arrows in general, have a pretty low accuracy, and so he'd probably be missing a lot if he equipped that instead of the harp, and we wouldn't, the arrows, all the holy arrows are special, and then there's going to be elemental arrows later and some status affecting arrows later. The status effects that the harp is going to give are going to be much better. Especially in the next dungeon, there'll be a few enemies that basically have some pretty nasty status effects that they can deal to us, like petrify. But if they're charmed with Edward's harp, they will petrify themselves or each other. So we got another new enemy here, the Imp Captain. A little bit stronger than your normal imp, but not that difficult. Finish him off. And we can head into here to a save point here, and that's where we'll make our save here. This is a short dungeon. We could go down and fight the ant lion. There's only one more floor, but it's always good to make a save before you fight a boss in case things go wrong. Not that much would go wrong with the ant lion. If it's your first time playing through, though, it might be a little bit difficult, but if you know the trick to beat the antlion, he's not hard at all. So, and I will show that trick off in our next episode. But first, I'm just gonna change the thing so I always this stands out a little bit more. Change to my favorite color, red. Now I noticed everything changes to red. And this is what we'll pick up in our next episode. So take care. Thanks for following along. Have a good day. Bye.